Okay, I've got a few different kettlebells here and just want to go over a couple of the common types of kettlebell swings. The two-handed swing with one kettlebell. Predominant type, actually two types, the Russian swing and the American swing. So the Russian swing is, kettlebells kind of came back in use in America around the 2000s, 2001, and the first certification was, I believe, about 2001, the Russian kettlebell certification. Anyway, if you're not familiar with the swings, like I say, I'll go over the Russian and American swing and what I see people do in the gym, which to me is kind of in between swing and I think isn't very efficient, and hopefully I'll explain that in a nice, kind manner. But if you're not familiar with using kettlebells, maybe you're a traditional gym guy, you don't understand what they're for or get the benefits, because of the unique design of the handle, they're very efficient as far as they're good for generating power. So the kettlebell swing is a hip hinge. It's the same pattern as a deadlift. So basically, it's a ballistic dynamic movement, allows you to get a lot of strength and power, specifically with your glutes and hamstrings, and your low back and your core is working as well to stabilize. But for those of us over 50, generally we lose power at a much faster rate than we lose strength. We can keep strength and muscle mass much longer, but power is one of the first things to go. Power is strength with speed. So if I can do a movement fast, I'm generating power. When I do a golf swing and hit the ball far, I'm generating power. Same thing with playing baseball, softball. A lot of different sports require power, and we lose that speed, that ability to generate force quickly at a much faster rate than we lose strength. So for those of over 50, doing power exercises is a good thing, and kettlebell is a great way to do that. Like I say, the Russian swing is what a lot of those are certified in kettlebells do, and I'll go over that here quickly. The American swing is predominantly seen in CrossFit and boot camps, and there's besides the fact that the American swing goes higher up, goes pretty much almost straight overhead and then back down, so it's more of a total body lift. What I like about the Russian swing, it's a predominantly lower body emphasis, really on the glutes and hamstrings. They're, again, very large muscle groups and involved in power in a lot of different activities and sports. So that's one of the reasons I like there. The American swing, picking the bell from the floor from your knees and going all the way up overhead, that's more, to me, more of an intermediate lift. It's a little more complicated. So to me, I would rather master the Russian version first, and then if you want to, you can move on to the American swing. But either way, doing those lifts, you're going to generate a lot of power. I mean, you're going to generate a lot of power, but you burn a lot of calories doing this, because you're doing a lot of movement in a short amount of time. But when I was taught the Russian swing in a workshop in 2003 from one of the first or second class Russian kettlebell instructors. And so they basically taught us, have the bell out in front of you and lean forward, almost like you're going to hike a football. So from here, I tilt the bell back towards me. From here, you can see I've already got a stretch on my glutes and hamstrings. A, that lets me know these are the muscles I'm targeting. But B, it's like a rubber band. You stretch that rubber band, let it go, a lot more force than, if you just let a rubber band go without stretching it first. So there again, so I'm gonna pull backwards, and when I do this, I want to make sure that I swing the bell above my knees. Otherwise, if I swing below my knees, I'm using too much of my low back muscles, potentially hurt my back muscles, and I want to focus on these glutes and hamstrings. So basically, you want the bell to come backwards here, and basically your hands are going to be between your knees and your groin. Obviously, you're not going to hit yourself in the groin, but you want your hands to come back above the knee. So here, come back quickly, quick hip hinge, they're again really focusing on those glutes and hamstrings in a very quick lift. So that's 44 pounds. So for me, I typically do this a little bit heavier here. I've got a 55-pound kettlebell, which is my usual, and sometimes I'll do a 70-pound. But either way, the object is to go quickly, to generate a lot of force, a lot of explosiveness. And so they're again very, very good for lower body development, but also just a lot of work. Get your heart rate up. You can tell I'm breathing a little bit heavier already, and like I say, it burns a lot of calories. So very efficient exercise lift in that regard. Also, if you're somebody maybe over 50 that's had some knee issues, this position here, you have minimal knee bend, very easy on the knees. So if you've had knee issues and you're worried about your lower body, it's a great way to train the lower body while minimizing knee stress. And also because your feet stay on the ground, there again, you've got no pounding either. So in that regard, it's good for those of us over 50, have a little mileage on our joints. So, like I say, now I've got the little bit heavier kettlebell, the 55. So now, I'm probably not going to go quite as high with this, but I'm still really pushing those hips forward. So it's an arcing movement, back and forward, arc back and forward, really using the glutes and hamstrings. So I'm going to hike it back like I'm hiking football. And typically I like to use repetitions between 4 and 6. I like to work more on power that way, as opposed to doing reps of 10 or higher, which you often see maybe a boot camp setting where they're trying to just burn calories. Either way, if you do enough of those, you're going to still burn calories. But as you can see, as I generate a lot of power, the kettlebell rose up to about chest level, maybe clavicle level, because of the amount of force generated with the lower body. Again, hips and hamstrings and glutes. And so at some point as the hips come through, I generate enough momentum that they call it drift. So drift or float, so it kind of floats up to about this level. But that's pretty much all. If I can go any higher, then I'm probably using too light a kettlebell, or my form's not ideal. But there again, I've done this quite a bit, and I can generate a fair amount of force with this. But typically here, okay, so this one, I'm going to give you a quick demonstration, like I say, so I'm going to finish typically, depending on the weight of the kettlebell and how much force I can generate, somewhere between waist level and chest level. So the American swing, I'll have to step back with this just so you can see it in the video. And like I say, whether they start all the way down to the floor or they hold it here, the difference is they're looking more straight ahead. There's a little more of a quad than glutes. Nothing wrong with that. I like the Russian version because I really want to emphasize two of the largest muscles in our body, the glutes and hamstrings. Okay, but I've never done the American swing, so we'll see how this goes, and that's why I'm using a much lighter weight. But typically, because you're going overhead, you have to use a much lighter weight anyway. Okay, so basically, okay, like I say, I've never done this one before. Okay, this is very light kettlebell, and I can do a little more. So I'm just going to go up with 20-pound, very light, 35-pound, and we'll see. We'll see how I do, and hopefully I don't fall on my butt. Okay. All right. All considered, I've never done that. Probably not too bad. But as you can see, you have to use much lighter weight, or at least lighter weight with the American swing than you do with the Russian swing. So for that reason, if I want strength and power development, that's why I prefer the Russian version, because you're using more weight. The other thing is, some of us over 50, we've lost range of motion up overhead, and if we don't have the ability to go straight vertical overhead without arching our back, doing that swing may not be the best thing for us until we increase either our thoracic flexibility and or our shoulder range of motion. You may put a little more stress on the shoulder, elbows, wrists than you want. So like I say, that doesn't mean that that swing is wrong. I would rather see a lot of people master the Russian swing before they decide to move on, if they want to move on to the American swing.